Dear students, today we will do another very famous poem written by Mathew Arnold. In this poem, the poet has given a beautiful description of the beach which is situated near Dover. In this poem, the poet gives the melancholy view of life. To begin with, he says, "The sea is calm tonight, the tide is full, the moon lies fair upon the straits on the French coast, the light gleams and is gone." So he says that the sea is calm, meaning there is no storm, it is peaceful. Then he says the moon lies fair, which means the moon is shining with all its beauty, and the beams of the moon they spread upon the straits, that is the narrow gulfs. On the French coast, the light gleams and is gone. He says, for sometimes one can see the light shining, but soon it disappears. The cliffs of England stand glimmering and vast. England's cliffs can be seen shining by the moonlight. Out in the tranquil bay means in the calm and peaceful inlet. Come to the window, sweet is the night air. The poet is addressing his beloved and he is calling her to come nearer to the window so that she may enjoy the night air. He says, one can feel the drops of water driven by the wind from the long line of spray. Spray means the droplets of water, where the sea meets the moon blenched land, and at a distance where it seems that the sea is meeting the land. And which land? The land which is made white by the moonlight. He says further that, listen, you will hear the grating roar, that is the harsh voice which is caused by the pebbles. Pebbles means the shiny round stones which are found on the beach, and these pebbles are brought by the waves and thrown on the seashore. He says, listen, you hear the grating roar of pebbles which the waves draw back and fling. Then he says, at their return up the high strand. So when the waves return, they throw these pebbles on the beach. Begin and cease, and then again begin. So the noise of the rolling pebbles, it begins and then it stops as the waves come and go with tremulous cadence slow. Tremulous means the quivering. Cadence means the rise and fall of the sound. The monotonous, slow, musical sound. The eternal note of sadness in, and this sound reminds the poet of the thing that life is sorrowful. Now, in the second stanza, the poet says that it is not only he who has heard this harsh sound. He says one of the greatest Greek tragedian named Sophocles also heard it on the Aegean Sea, which is situated in Greece, and it brought into his mind the turbid ebb and flow, and it also brought into his mind the rise and fall of human misery. We find also in the sound a thought. Hearing it by this distant northern sea means, he says, we can also find another thought which is brought to our mind by this distant northern sea, that is the English Channel. Now, in the third stanza, the poet is mourning the loss of faith in the world. He says, the sea of faith was once too at the full, and round earth's shore means just like the sea is full of water, so once the earth was also full of faith at the full and round earth's shore, just like a girdle which is worn round the waist of a human being. Similarly, faith also covered the waist of the earth. But now I hear its melancholy long withdrawing roar. He says, now as faith is losing its existence in the world, he says people are now in distress, and he hears only the melancholy long withdrawing roar of the waves of the sea. Retreating to the beach, he says, the sea of faith, which was once full, is now retreating, going back. Of the night wind down the vast edges drear, below the boundless shores of sea and naked shingles of the world. He says, with the loss of religious faith, the world has slipped into the grip of doubt, dispute, distraction, and fear. And so the world is no better than a barren shingled beach. Now, in the last stanza, the poet wishes to give his message. He says that one can escape from this in love, because the constancy of true love at least is the consolation in this disconsolate world. He says, "Our love, let us be true to one another." Why? Because the world which seems to lie before us like a land of dreams, so various, so beautiful, so new, hath really neither joy, nor love, nor light, nor certitude, nor peace, nor help for pain. He says, let us be true to one another, because the world which apparently seems like a land of dream, that is a fairy land, which is so full of variety, so beautiful, so new. In reality, there is no joy, no love, no light, no certainty, no help for a person who is suffering. And he says, we are here as on a darkling plain. The poet is comparing with the soldiers who are fighting with each other, not knowing what they are fighting for. He says, as we are here on a darkling plain, swept with confused alarms of struggle and flight, where ignorant armies clash by night. He says, just like the ignorant or the innocent army, not knowing what they are doing, we are also filled with confusion, or we are carried away with confusion. So, in this way, the poet says that one should not be so hopeful in this world, which is not worth living without faith. Thank you.